learn how to deploy your Azure Logic apps from right inside of Visual Studio in this edition of Azure Tips and Tricks. In a previous video, you saw how you can work with Azure Logic apps right from within Visual Studio just by installing the Azure Logic Apps Visual Studio extension. In this video, we're going to show you how you can deploy your Logic app straight into the cloud, right here from your editor. Now, I'm going to right-click and go to Open with Logic App Designer. What we've built here so far is just a very simple Azure Logic app. It's not the typical Logic app that you create, but it's good enough for the demo. All it's doing is accepting an HTTP request and returning an HTTP response using two actions. Now, if I want to deploy this project, I can right-click on my project inside of Visual Studio. I can click on Deploy, and now I can set the resource group that I wanted to go to. I'll make sure that I have the right Azure subscription selected. And then I'll also check these other settings to make sure that they're set up the way that I'd like them to be. Now, this looks fine for me. I'm going to hit Deploy. And what's happening now inside of Visual Studio is that it's going to run that PowerShell script that's a part of your project. It's going to go through all of those various commands, which will go ahead and provision your Logic app inside of the cloud and also publish our project that we've created here inside of Visual Studio. Now that our deployment is complete, I can head over to the Azure Portal, and inside of my Logic app section, I can hit Refresh. Here you should see the demo Logic app that we just deployed. If I click on this and I go back over to the Logic App Designer, what you'll see here is that the exact same app that we built in Visual Studio has now been deployed and is running inside of the cloud. And that's how you can easily deploy your Azure Logic apps straight from Visual Studio.